Welcome, beloved brothers and sisters in Christ. As we gather in this moment of reflection, let us quiet our hearts and embrace the peace of God's presence. Today, we will explore the profound need for understanding, a virtue rooted in faith, hope, and love. May this message inspire us to approach one another with kindness and grace, seeking to reflect Christ's example in every encounter. Today's message comes from the book Jesus in the Home by Neio, Lucio, psychographed by the medium Francisco Xavier. Chapter 35. The Need for Understanding. One of the disciples had come to the home gospel worship with a downcast face. In response to the Lord's fraternal questioning, he explained that he had been treated disrespectfully on the street. He had asked a number of debtors for payment, but they had responded with ingratitude and sarcasm. Christ did not offer the man any personal advice, but obviously exhorting all the attendees, he narrated benevolently. A great expositor of the texts of Job possessed a unique willingness for endeavors of understanding and kindness. And perhaps because of this, he established a school in which he pontificated with unquestionable wisdom. On one particular occasion, he was helping a troubled student who often complained about how he was mistreated in the town square. Patiently, he went with the student through the streets of Jerusalem, begging for alms for various temple services. The majority of the passers-by either gave or refused to give alms with a sense of indifference, but on one particularly busy corner, a seemingly healthy man answered their plea with harshness and ridicule. The master took the student by the hand, and both of them cautiously continued on their way. They hadn't gone very far when they looked back and saw the man fall to the ground, writhing in violent pain. Everyone rushed to his aid. They soon realized that an irascible brother was suffering from deadly colic. They continued on their way when they came across a gentleman who didn't even stoop to respond to their request. He merely gave them a hard and rancorous stare. Teacher and ward followed him, and when the strange character reached his home, they saw that a small group of weeping people were waiting for him, and that he joined them in copious tears. The two of them learned that the unfortunate man had come home to a dead daughter. They continued begging on the street and were soon cussed at by a young man whom they had asked for alms. Expectantly, they withdrew a ways, and after half an hour of observing him, they realized that the wretched man was merely insane. Then they heard outrageous words from an old man who was promising them prison and stoning. But after some time, they found out that the poor man was simply a bankrupt businessman who had gone from master to slave because of his enormous debt. As the day was coming to a close, the respectable teacher invited the disciple to head back to the school with him and asked, "Did you learn the lesson? Accept the need for understanding as a holy commandment in life. Never again will you complain about those who display expressions of rebelliousness or despair in the streets. The first one who we came to was an ordinary ill man. The second one had had a death in his house. The third was insane, and the fourth one had gone bankrupt. In most cases, those who treat us with disdain are following a path that is even darker and thornier than our own." And completing the lesson, the Lord concluded before the amazed disciples, "Whenever we meet up with bearers of affliction, we must show mercy and help them to regain inner peace. The bull still has horns because it has not yet received the gift of wings. We commonly complain about the sheep that is bothering our repose by bleating in terror. But we rarely remember that the poor animal is under a heavy noose on its way to the slaughterhouse. As we leave this time of sharing, let us carry the lesson of understanding in our hearts. May we be instruments of God's love, extending compassion to all, especially to those burdened by unseen struggles. May the peace of Christ guide our steps, and His love fill us with hope and faith as we go forth to serve Him. So be it.